How's it going, everybody? It's Asian and Gami, and we got another fucking video today. Whatever. So, I just wanted to talk about the state of American society right now, and just take comparisons from what some people have said in the past to what is happening right now. Find some correlation, and just notice that a lot of things are kind of fucking crazy, a little bit more than has gone on in human history. Now we know that when societies get to the end of their existence, they start to focus on things that are a little less or that are less important. They start talking about gender, they start talking about crap that just doesn't really progress society, like the innovation, the creativity, the aspirations to explore and just hit new frontiers. All that stuff kind of goes out the window when you start thinking about the mundane, right? And so right now the US and the world in general is kind of at that state where we're just talking about dumb shit that doesn't matter, when there are more serious pressing matters like human trafficking, drug trade, other stuff, that just exploitation of kids, all that's not really being talked about. Instead, we want to talk about your gender, how you can feel about, hey, I like another boy, but I feel like a girl, and I look like a man, but whatever. None of it makes fucking sense, right? So, I wanted to talk about something that a gentleman named Paul Harvey brought up back in 1965. He's a religious person, yes, but religion is not supposed to be over encompassing. It's just supposed to be like a framework of how you live your life, how you it's a structure, right? Some religious people take it way too fucking far, and that's also something that this man explains in other quotes, videos, whatever, right? Unfortunately, right now everything's a little bit too extreme. The Christians are way too extreme. They're reading books and taking the context out of the books, when God himself has said that humans are imperfect. So when they write something, it's going to be imperfect, and it's for a reason, because only his word can be legitimate, right? And no human will ever be able to replicate what he's telling him, because nobody can really compare to God. And I'm not really religious in that aspect, but at least morally I know what's right and wrong and what to trying to do better by that. But when you got society in general kind of losing that morality that we had just 30 years ago, kind of puts into perspective that we kind of need a cultural shift, a reminder of what's going on. So I wanted to bring up this video, so that way we can all, kind of experience what a man once said back then. So let's see.
If I were the devil, if I were the devil, if I were the prince of darkness, I'd want to engulf the whole world in darkness, and I'd have a third of its real estate and 4/5 of its population, but I wouldn't be happy until I had seized the ripest apple on the tree, thee. So I'd set about, however necessary, to take over the United States. I'd subvert the churches first. I'd begin with a campaign of whispers. With the wisdom of the serpent, I would whisper to you as I whispered to Eve, do as you please. To the young, I would whisper that the Bible is a myth. I would convince them that man created God instead of the other way around.
So, even just to that point, just to break it down, when he's talking about my interpretation, whatever. So I might be wrong. God and a lot of people take children to be the most innocent, the most just, you don't mess with that, right? And when he's explaining this, they're talking about it's talking about anybody who's trying to mess with kids and just basically mess with their mind, have them be into their image, mold them, and like, we all technically want our kids to be raised a certain way and like be molded, but we want them to be raised properly with manners, you know, civility, upholding certain rights, and just bettering society. We don't want just hoodlums, right? We don't want just fucking idiots. But a lot of people nowadays are basically trying to inject certain toxic traits, I guess, onto these people, onto kids. That's my interpretation, what he means by it. I might be wrong, but nonetheless.
I would confide that what's bad is good and what's good is square. And the old I would teach to pray after me, Our Father, which art in Washington. And then I'd get organized. I'd educate authors in how to make lurid literature exciting so that anything else would appear dull and uninteresting. I'd threaten TV with dirtier movies and vice versa. I'd peddle narcotics to whom I could. I'd sell alcohol to ladies and gentlemen of distinction. I'd tranquilize the rest with pills. If I were the devil, I'd soon have families at war with themselves, churches at war with themselves, and nations at war with themselves, until each in its turn was consumed. And with promises of higher ratings, I'd have mesmerizing media fanning the flames.
Now, that one kind of has quite a bit of stuff to break down. But even from one of the, first parts it's starting to go off of is, the art in Washington. That's kind of what's going on right now, where Washington has a lot more say, a lot more control of what you're doing. They're very critical. They're basically being the fucking SCP, or what is it? Not SCP, the CCP, China, right? They're basically wanting a consolidated monetary system where all your money is just in one spot, and they can track where you're spending it, how you're spending it, what your credit score is, basically tell you how to live your life, right? More than now. So on that aspect, you can definitely see it, the part where they see families basically arguing amongst each other, and even from the other part where it's basically telling you, like, the kids, that the Bible is a myth. There's a lot of stuff that has been proven wrong as of recently, like the floods. Now, the floods were not worldwide, but the earth was definitely hit by asteroids and meteors that melted these glaciers. Okay, so that way there were floods. It wasn't worldwide like everybody thought. They still happened in areas, and it wiped out civilizations. That happened. Those were stories from the Bible that we thought were fake or myth, but guess what? They turned out to be true. When you put more science and just dedication into looking into these things, you find out they're not so much that fake. There's a little bit more behind it. So the whole part of also just trying to get families to fight amongst each other and nations and other stuff like that, we see that in the US, where they're basically trying to divide you and I, just because, you look a little different from me, but in all honesty, we do have a lot of likes. You like anime? Guess what? I like anime. You like Pokemon? I like Pokemon. You like going for runs or doing this and that? I have similar interests, right? But because you look certain way, we can't be friends, according to these people on the other side. So yes, that stuff is definitely going on, and it's frustrating when you see we should have more of a national patriotic feeling to each other, but instead the government's basically telling you, like, no, this guy's your enemy. The fuck? It's just really stupid.
If I were the devil, I would encourage schools to refine young intellects, but neglect to discipline emotions. Just let those run wild. Until before you knew it, you'd have to have drug-sniffing dogs and metal detectors at every schoolhouse door. Within a decade, I'd have prisons overflowing. I'd have judges promoting pornography. Soon I could evict God from the courthouse, then from the schoolhouse, and then from the houses of Congress. And in his own churches I would substitute psychology for religion and deify science. I would lure priests and pastors into misusing boys and girls and church money. If I were the devil, I'd make the symbol of Easter an egg and the symbol of Christmas a bottle. If I
So yeah, this one's got quite a bit as well to break down. The whole thing, let me see. Yeah, evicting God and also the courthouse is overflowing. And, well, I mean, fucking everything. As far as, like, this one probably more so gets me seeing that this shit is true. When you see a certain side very much just appealing to emotion and only emotion, no reason, no logic, no facts, no evidence, it doesn't matter what everything you put into their face, they're not going to accept that that's the truth. They're just going to say, well, I don't like you, so I'm just going to pick whatever opposite is yours. That's how it is, right? And that's exactly what he fucking mentions here. I would encourage schools to refine your young intellects, but neglect the disciplined emotions. Just let those run wild. And then obviously we just keep scrolling down here of like having prisons overflowing, judges promoting pornography, and evicting God. It's odd for someone who's not religious. It makes me, if not believe in a higher being like that, definitely the whole good and evil aspect of life, it definitely exists, and you can see when certain people are exhibiting more goodness or more evil, right? And at least right now, you could definitely fucking feel the evil when they're pushing certain stuff to the forefront. Yeah, the whole thing with God and our foundation of the US being mixed in with that as well, obviously it alienates a lot of other religions. If you think about Christian God as in just its own little category, but as I've heard from this man and other stuff, sounds like he's speaking for God or from God himself. And even God says himself that these other religions are not your enemy. They're merely just a different aspect of me. They're just another way to see God, another way to live your life. Think about it this way. Not everybody learns in the same manner. Some people are more visual. Some people can just hear it and pick it up. Some people can read it and pick it up. Some people have to, be hands-on. That's basically what God said. All these religions are not invalid. It's just there are different ways to live life. Now, when people take it to the extreme and start doing really fucked up shit, like, oh, I need to have 70 wives and I can rape children and that's okay, right? It's not. They've twisted what morals and stuff you should live life by and made it selfish. But I don't think a lot of people are going to pick that up and want to be like, yeah, my Christian God is the same as Allah or Buddha and all this other stuff. Because no, people are very stuck up with like, no, Christians, they don't cross sin with Muslims, or no, we don't cross sin with these other people. It's just like, y'all are fucking stupid. We're all human. We all have a certain way we want to live. You all want us to just be civil at the end of the day, right? But people are kind of twisting that nowadays. I just wanted to get that across.
If I were the devil, I'd take from those who have and give to those who wanted until I had killed the incentive of the ambitious. And what'll you bet? I couldn't get whole states to promote gambling as the way to get rich. I would caution against extremes in hard work, in patriotism, in moral conduct. I would convince the young that marriage is old-fashioned, that swinging is more fun, that what you see on TV is the way to be. And thus I could undress you in public I could lure you into bed with diseases for which there is no cure. In other words, if I were the devil, I'd just keep right on doing what he's doing.
And that is the late, great Paul Harvey. Now, some of you might want to dismiss quite a bit of that, or even just dismiss whatever I say as just malarkey, right? And you're free to do so. There are always going to be twisted people in this world. There are always going to be people that just have very bad morals that keep you living, right? Can't do anything about it. Guess what? I'm not religious, but even God would still forgive you if you are that fucked up. Something about the whole last part that, again, is very prominent, is pushing the whole sexuality stuff, young and to everybody. There's a lot of morals that are being missed. Something like the recent film Song of the South, or Song of Freedom, where, or Sound of Freedom, my bad, where the media is literally talking shit about this film, talking about human trafficking for kids, and the media would think, oh, you know what, we can talk shit about this. I think it's because you guys are also part of this whole little circle, you know, Hollywood and them being pedos and other shit like that, right? Yeah, we've known about it for quite a while, especially with the whole Harvey Weinstein thing, but even more so now when a film criticizes that actual aspect so evil and just vile that you couldn't imagine someone doing something fucked up to an innocent child. Yeah, it gets you a little bit riled up. That's why I'm a little bit kind of jittery, because knowing that there's so much evil going on in the world, and you clearly see the governments of the world idly sitting by because they're the ones participating in this shit, it pisses you off. It makes you want to do something. So that's why I'm making a video, because obviously right now the US is so fucked up in the head that we're just going down the wrong pathway. Slowly we're waking up. You know, you got certain businesses starting to fail because of consumers finally realizing you can actually, you know, make them pay with your fucking money. So hopefully we kind of get through this a little bit better, but for now, that's all I got. So that's my little heated rant for tonight. Hopefully this message gets across, even though it's a fucking 20-minute video. Yikes. Hopefully you all watch it through. Like to hear what y'all have to say in the comments down below. We'll see how this goes. Other than that, just have a good night, good morning, whatever the fuck you're doing, and comment, like, subscribe. I'll catch you next time. Bye.